This guy likely spent years locked behind bars. Serving long stretches gives a convict endless hours to plot every single detail. Forget about some cheap winter mask grabbed on the fly. This predator wore a tactical balaclava, crafted specifically to erase his entire identity. His hair remained completely hidden. His hands were protected by specialized combat gloves meant to starve forensic teams of prints. Over his head rested a tightly drawn hood, shielded further by a thick outer coat. Slung over his shoulder was a generic Walmart brand rucksack, truly the most painfully average and untraceable bag available anywhere in the nation. A weapon sat perfectly placed in his rigged holster. He came armed and dangerous, knowing the precise location of the security lens. Instead of creeping around nervously, he strolled right up to the porch. Ex-federal investigator Brianna Fox noted his arrogant strut made him look like he owned the property. Reaching upward, he blocked the lens. He truly believed he planned for everything. Yet he completely forgot about his own arm. On February 10th, 2026, exactly 9 days following Nancy Guthrie's vanishing, federal agents dropped the security video from that terrifying evening. Those haunting images were never meant to survive. The smart porch camera blacked out completely at 1:47 on February 1st. Someone intentionally severed the system's connection. Any visual evidence captured during that dark window felt permanently erased, at least initially. Federal detectives teamed up intimately with the tech giant controlling the camera brand, extracting hidden clips buried deep inside their corporate data vaults. That miraculous digital retrieval completely shattered the case wide open. The recovered video reveals a masked prowler casually approaching the victim's front steps. This phantom wears a balaclava, thick gloves, and outerwear. He clutches a generic backpack alongside a deadly firearm. Reaching high, he attempts to blind the camera, utilizing his covered fingers first before switching to another method entirely. He used organic material that detectives later shipped off for heavy laboratory testing, officially branding him the primary abduction suspect. Authorities described an average-built, right-handed male standing roughly 5 feet 9 to 10 inches. Beyond his carefully chosen gear, he unknowingly brought along the ultimate tracing beacon. A highly personal piece of dark ink was stamped permanently across his lower arm. Jim Clemente spotted it instantly. He spent decades profiling criminals federally. This elite supervising agent crafted psychological portraits for America's most notoriously twisted criminal investigations. When the footage dropped on February 10th, Clemente analyzed it thoroughly before heading straight to digital news outlets. Sitting down for a major television interview, he dropped an absolutely crucial piece of insight. He confidently announced that the attacker clearly rocked permanent ink just below his hand. This guy made massive mistakes. Clemente told reporters that the culprit accidentally leaked tremendous amounts of highly sensitive personal data. Therefore, he lacks true professional polish. We have a phantom who hid his entire body shape, buried his features, and struck under pitch-black darkness. He expertly severed the feed while purposefully selecting a completely generic carrying sack. Add in the boring outerwear and a hidden weapon harness, showing a guy who seemingly planned out every single microscopic variable perfectly. Despite all that theatrical preparation, one of America's elite criminal minds took one glance and labeled him a complete novice. His eyebrows, lashes, and bits of mustache remained totally exposed. Any loose strand could have easily dropped right there. True pros do not just cover their physical features, they actively mask their entire personal history. Yet, this kidnapper's life story, permanently etched into his flesh, was accidentally broadcast directly into a digital lens for absolutely everyone to dissect. Clemente publicly exposed this error. Gesturing toward the attacker's exposed arm in the video, he explained to journalists how that distinct mark would perfectly filter potential culprits. He emphasized how vital this clue would become for civilian tipsters. Filtering suspects in or out represents strict detective protocol, definitely not empty television chatter. Clemente outlined an operational tactic, utilizing the ink as a literal filter. It acts as a razor-sharp funnel, slashing millions of random citizens into mere thousands, boiling those down to hundreds, and eventually isolating the lone predator. During his media appearance, he guessed the target was likely drifting through his 3rd or 4th decade of life. He moved too fluidly to be someone pushing their 50s or 60s, landing firmly in the middle-aged bracket. This amateur undoubtedly showed weird psychological shifts beforehand. Loved ones desperately need to watch out for massive anxiety spikes, random, unexplainable absences, drastic attitude shifts, or grooming changes. He essentially described a terrified fugitive running from justice right now, just not fast enough. We need to construct this suspect's identity from scratch, since detectives are aggressively tracking his wardrobe while simultaneously hunting down that skin art. Authorities officially confirmed hunting an average-built guy standing roughly 5 feet 9 to 10 inches tall. Forensic teams calculated those exact measurements by digitally mapping his shape against the fixed architectural features of that specific porch. Focus on that bag. News networks traced this 25-liter rucksack to an Ozark Trail design, which happens to be an exclusive store brand found only on the shelves of your local Walmart. Consequently, any big box location operating security lenses around the Tucson area suddenly becomes a massive treasure trove for buyer records, alongside any worker recalling the sale, any discount account ever scanned, plus the weapon and its carrying case. Detectives confirmed they are pushing hard to pinpoint the exact make of that pistol and its carrier, since both clearly show up on tape. That carrying angle, which experts flagged as extremely weird, remains under intense scrutiny, because strange placement reveals hidden habits. One dark hand covering was discovered exactly 2 miles from the victim's house. Lab technicians ran genetic material through the federal system, scanning almost 27 million stored criminal records, yet found absolutely nothing during the search. Genetic evidence pulled directly from the residence failed to trigger any system alerts, handing authorities major clues. The suspect might possess a hidden rap sheet, committed offenses across different borders, or bypassed the national registry entirely. Alternatively, this horrific event marks his first formal run-in with American cops. Moreover, the security tape exposed a hidden detail detectives kept quiet about, though media sleuths noticed. Those pair of federal photos seemingly capture the intruder visiting the Guthrie property on 2 distinct occasions, carrying his gear once and arriving completely empty-handed during the next. Separate dates featured the identical disguised prowler, proving this was never random luck, but calculated stalking of his prey. Yet during those long weeks of spying, he accidentally flashed a tiny glimpse of himself on lens. Quick legal pause, we must address a crucial point first. Nobody has been officially outed, singled out, or formally indicted regarding the vanishing of Nancy. All upcoming details stem from recognized professional takes and open-source intelligence, rather than confirmed police conclusions. And we deliberately avoid guessing any real names here. Our broadcast merely echoes exactly what verified specialists shared. The True Crime Podcast crew started breaking down the recording, pulling in an absolute master who dedicated 30 long years to interpreting body art patterns. That professional is Darren Rosa, commonly known as the guy running the legendary Rising Dragon Parlor out of Manhattan. This guy lacks a police badge. Instead, he is an artisan who spent 30 years decoding how ink locations, artistic vibes, and line work reveal someone's deeply hidden criminal past. Experts handed Rosa a heavily enlarged still frame pulled straight from the porch camera, displaying just a slice, a mere peak of skin art popping out from under the cuff and above the hand covering, localized on the right arm. Taking that tiny clue, our artist managed to extract several highly specialized conclusions. His initial takeaway confirmed the aesthetic leaned completely monochrome. Throughout the body art community, monochromatic shading means much more than pigment, representing an entire movement tied to distinct roots, deep cultural ties, and extremely specific regional popularity. The expert informed the host that shaded monochrome remains an incredibly common choice, specifically around the southern desert regions, especially when looking at the dangerous local underworld, and syndicates who deeply favor the shaded look, detailing exactly why criminals obsess over this specific vibe, pure dark shading. Whenever you discuss skin art created behind bars, you have to realize that those locked away completely lack the proper supplies to make anything else inside their cell blocks. He clarified that prisoners cannot find vibrant pigments, making this particular look a staple decoration for organized crime over decades. These guys ultimately mastered the technique, turning delicate shade blending into an absolute street masterpiece. Such mastery acts as a badge of honor for anyone climbing the criminal ladder, proving that elite monochrome work represents hard-earned respect rather than simple aesthetics. It operates as a visible resume within their strict underground ranks, where flawlessly executed needle skills and smooth fading prove an immense level of talent that commands true authority down in the trenches. Our artist was not talking about some cheap parlor trick, but rather profound imagery broadcasting exactly what this stranger survived and stands for. Taking it deeper, he pinpointed the criminal's likely territory. That specific shading approach incredibly survives intense solar rays, pointing to folks spending endless hours under the sweltering desert skies across the deep south, namely Arizona, New Mexico, Southern California, or Texas. Essentially, he matched the ink background right back to the exact sunny neighborhood where the victim originally resided. As mentioned previously, that incredibly delicate single-needle precision directly correlates with the brutal climate where she ultimately vanished. Finally, our guy dropped a massive bombshell, escalating a simple art critique into a total nightmare for the culprit, noting if this is all we catch. Listen closely because Rosa dropped a bombshell on Nancy Grace that ink almost certainly coats this guy's whole arm. We mean a complete sleeve, not just some random ankle design or a tiny forearm graphic. This is heavy shading running straight from his wrist, past the elbow, up to the shoulder. And Rosa made the fallout crystal clear. The dude probably has inked hands too, which explains why he rocks that heavy balaclava mask. Expect to find serious artwork on his neck or right below his eyes, since that fits the profile. The hands are covered by that thick balaclava hood, strongly suggesting throat tattoos or facial ink hiding out of sight. So stop right there. Play that back. Our guy rocked a ski mask during a warm Tucson morning on February 1st, complete with tactical gloves and a tightly cinched hoodie. Everyone naturally assumed he just wanted to conceal his identity, which is accurate, yet Rosa takes it a crucial step further. He concealed far more than features. That mask covered a literal roadmap of throat graphics, possible teardrops, and those tactical gloves almost certainly hid heavily tattooed hands. Stepping outside looking completely normal on February 1st was impossible, which is exactly why he resembled a masked figure. Ditching those gloves would ruin his cover instantly. He would be instantly recognizable to anyone, since you can change a hairstyle. But hiding heavy prison ink is impossible. You simply cannot hide facial or neck graphics inside a dark closet. A simple cap will not hide that at a gas station, which led Rosa to conclude the suspect is absolutely covered in heavy ink. Investigative clues. While the ink matters, it is just one piece of a massive puzzle, and watching these different clues weave together reveals the real narrative. Sheriff Chris Nanos confidently assured the Today Show that detectives are getting much warmer in their hunt. Dropping that update on live television served as a deliberate statement from law enforcement. He essentially broadcasted to the whole country that they caught a massive break behind closed doors. Detectives clearly hold devastating secrets the public knows absolutely nothing about. Starting with the genetics. Crime scene techs grabbed genetic material directly from the house, plus extra samples off a discarded glove 2 miles away. They ran both through the federal system. Striking out on 27 million criminal profiles in that massive database is a bitter pill to swallow. Yet Parabon Nanolabs superstar geneticist CeCe Moore gave Fox News Digital a blunt reality check. Catching this absolute ghost is simply a waiting game once we run those genes through familial tracing. That exact same ancestral tracking method finally took down the notorious Golden State Killer after 40 long years. That identical playbook locked up Brian Kohberger for the horrific Idaho slayings. The process builds an extensive relative network based entirely on that single mystery sample. They hunt down cousins who willingly uploaded their genetic data to commercial sites like Ancestry. Working backward through bloodlines to isolate the culprit is a grueling grind. But modern tech makes it fiercely effective. Barbara Ray Venter, who cracked the Golden State case, confirmed this. She explained that today's wildly advanced software handles this heavy lifting, though this specific case presents unique genetic hurdles. Sheriff Nanos openly admitted the material pulled from the residence is a complex mixture. Getting a clean read is tough since multiple people touched it, and he was shockingly honest about those struggles. While the sample is tricky, he stressed that rapid technological leaps give them a massive upper hand. The science team fully expects to crack this wide open within a few short weeks or months. So, the genetic hunt remains red hot, while detectives aggressively dig into another crucial element behind the scenes: They are scrutinizing the exact timeline before Nancy vanished. Here are the facts: Nancy Guthrie vanished after January 31st, and the sheriff officially cleared her relatives. Savannah Guthrie and her relatives are officially cleared by the sheriff. Yet, the hours preceding her vanishing tell another story. Detailing her final passengers and checking random visitors continues to keep the entire police force incredibly busy. Ashley Banfield's drop-dead serious broadcast revealed that Savannah's brother-in-law, Tommaso Chioni, drove Nancy home that evening. Tommaso has never been named as an official suspect. Let's get one crucial fact completely straight right out of the gate. Absolutely no arrests or criminal charges have happened yet, as we are strictly reporting verified journalism. However, here is the absolute undeniable truth. We are still desperately trying to figure out who caught the final glimpse of Nancy, understood her daily habits, and realized her home was vulnerable before dawn breaks. Tech forensics specialist Heather Barnhart weighed in heavily, bringing her vast experience from the Brian Kohberger manhunt and her crucial role at the SNS Institute alongside Qbyte, sharing perfectly relevant insights with NBC News. Most folks completely underestimate how wildly personal information scatters across modern digital gadgets. Her exact words noted that the exact complexities frustrating detectives also create an absolute nightmare for perpetrators erasing tracks. Since your mobile device essentially watches everything, it remembers every single move. Meaning whoever snatched Nancy Guthrie undoubtedly carried a personal smartphone. That specific device traveled through Tucson's Catalina foothills region prior to February 1st, potentially returning constantly if those verified scouting reports hold actual weight. The gadget undoubtedly triggered local network masts, silently logged geographic coordinates, saved shopping receipts, archived web inquiries, and stored text messages that essentially build a direct bridge toward her doorstep. Nancy Grace's true crime audio series recently verified that detectives are actively demanding massive digital dumps from tech giants Google and Apple regarding this mystery. Now, how precisely can federal agents weaponize this specific ink? We must dive into exact details, especially since rival journalists keep missing the full picture entirely. American policing networks operate several massive body art catalogs alongside highly specialized visual tracking systems. The Federal Bureau's incredibly advanced next-generation identification platform, essentially called the NGI, houses far more than mere thumbprints and face scans, specifically storing comprehensive skin art archives updated by every single standard arrest snapshot taken. Furthermore, the National Gang Center, heavily managed by the official Bureau of Justice Assistance, actively archives underworld skin, art, and dark symbols, targeting exact patterns tied to infamous cartels alongside bodily placements, unpacking hidden messages, and mapping regional popularity, while specific territories like Arizona, Texas, California, and New Mexico independently run specialized local syndicate trackers. These localized digital hubs constantly talk to the massive federal law enforcement servers. Agents can instantly filter them, compare them endlessly, and here is exactly how investigators actually run a body art search on the ground. Rosa pinpointed the specific aesthetic as black and gray, firmly linking its geographic roots to the southwestern United States, where cartels thoroughly dominate. He accurately deduced the massive scale, predicting full arm coverage alongside throat markings, providing crucial search filters that detectives plug straight into their law enforcement software. The distinct monochrome aesthetic immediately shrinks the visual classification options perfectly, noting Southwestern Syndicate roots tightly isolates the underworld affiliation, while specifying complete arm coverage perfectly refines the physical suspect profile. Should the artwork actually reveal recognizable symbols directly matching an established criminal faction's signature aesthetic language, the digital sweep violently shrinks the suspect pool from millions down to thousands, then rapidly from thousands into mere hundreds, until those remaining hundreds inevitably point toward one unique identity, sitting safely inside an old arrest file. Retired federal operative Jonathan Gilliam jumped on the Megyn Kelly broadcast around March 18th, basically 24 hours before our footage dropped, perfectly outlining this exact tactical reality. He offered fairly cautious doubts regarding certain symbolic translations, reminding viewers that massive arm pieces remain incredibly popular across Arizona generally. He absolutely nailed the fact that one tiny visual sliver cannot definitively unmask a suspect alone. However, Gilliam quickly followed up by explaining that any minor detail counts whenever heavily inked individuals face arrest. Police painstakingly photograph every single mark. Thus, some digital archive inevitably holds that exact visual match, patiently waiting for a sharp detective to finally link everything together properly, simply connecting the dots. That precise process is unfolding right now, while another massive investigative avenue remains completely ignored by the mainstream corporate news networks on national television. Nancy Grace recently spotlighted this massive clue during fresh installments of her popular crime series. A mundane electrical box right near Guthrie's property suffered fresh defacement, prompting detectives to immediately summon elite street art decoders, alongside body ink experts to meticulously study the damage. Because the profound overlap between gang murals and skin art happens by pure design. Deep inside the violent cartel universe, identical ominous symbols flawlessly transition from human flesh straight onto rough concrete surfaces. That identical aesthetic dialect Rosa spotted on the attacker's forearm frequently surfaces as street spray paint, aggressively claiming neighborhoods and declaring gang loyalty. Vandalism decoders train rigorously to translate these cryptic murals, exposing hidden syndicate hierarchies and property lines hidden inside scribbles. Normal folks write off as childish destruction. Detectives intentionally hired specialized interpreters fully capable of completely dissecting underground cartel symbols and complex body modifications. This incredibly calculated law enforcement tactic matches flawlessly with the exact suspect description Darren Rosa confidently laid out earlier. We are absolutely not watching two disconnected, independent inquiries here. Every single clue ruthlessly targets one burning mystery: exactly which monster or vicious organization took her. And what does this terrifying truth mean for Nancy Guthrie's current survival? Let us ultimately anchor these wild theories back to today's solid reality, focusing entirely on forensic genetics, actively pushing through the complex familial tracking system. They are relentlessly hunting down his clothing origins, dissecting every single recorded footstep, and ripping digital logs directly from Google and Apple. Federal and state gang systems are actively scanning that specific ink, while threat analysts dissect the graffiti found outside NY's residence. C.C. Moore leads the genetic genealogy division at Parabon Nano Labs. Having cracked thousands of unsolved mysteries, her team gave Fox News Digital a declaration rooted in absolute professional confidence, not blind hope. Because investigative genetic genealogy represents such a powerful weapon, uncovering the identity behind that biological evidence is absolutely inevitable, empowering detectives to chase fresh leads and finally give NY's grieving relatives the truth. This is an eventual certainty, completely free from wishful thinking or conditional variables. It reflects standard procedure, because genetic tracing simply does not miss when enough biological evidence exists. Distant familial matches might slow the process, but this scientific technology is advancing way faster than any criminal could flee. Then you factor in the massive financial incentive, as the FBI promises $100,000 for clues uncovering Nancy Guthrie's whereabouts or capturing the guilty. Furthermore, the Guthrie family themselves posted a staggering $1 million bounty. $1 million just to dial a hotline proves allegiances break, because keeping quiet carries a steep cost. Moreover, the specific social circle this perpetrator likely associates with, the exact demographic Rosa pinpointed during his expert evaluation, operates on a delicate system of mutual reliance, and $1 million easily shatters that bond. So let us return to the very beginning. This man meticulously concealed his features and skin, having fully planned everything, staked out the property, and made his move. Spotting the security setup beforehand, he stretched out through the shadows to completely blind the recording device, while he obsessively hid every recognizable detail. He missed one tiny fragment, and that crucial piece currently sits inside federal systems. A 30-year tattoo professional evaluated the design, successfully linking it to a distinct artistic method, a unique subculture, and a particular geographical region. One highly respected retired FBI behavioral expert currently working in broadcasting has officially highlighted this massive clue. Detectives are currently matching it against criminal ink registries and local booking documents. Specialists are matching it against pictures pulled from the defaced electrical box near NY's residence. And someone watching right this very second definitely knows it. These investigations consistently wrap up this exact way. Rather than through some sudden cinematic revelation, they rarely end with a forced admission inside a bleak interrogation chamber. Resolution strikes when the mounting heat finally breaks someone close to the culprit, a confidant who has seen him without the mask. Deciding that protecting a criminal costs too much, 47 days later, the ink is cracked. While the biological evidence navigates the ancestry network, purchase histories are actively tracked down, meaning our target is hiding somewhere nearby, altering his looks while constantly glancing backward whenever he steps outside. Every new dawn brings another chance for someone to step forward and stop protecting him. He revealed it on camera, supplying the FBI and major databases with crucial evidence. Specialists and the public hold this crucial evidence. So, anyone possessing facts about Nancy Guthrie vanishing must dial 1-800-CALL-FBI immediately. Simply dial 1-800-255-324. Send digital clues to tips.fbi.gov, ATA, or call Puma County Sheriff at 520-351490, with the FBI pledging $100,000 and the family offering $1 million. Bring her back safely. Here is a 200-word American English passage with an educational and meaningful message. This story teaches a powerful truth, no matter how carefully evil tries to hide. Truth has a way of leaving fingerprints behind. A person may cover his face, conceal his hands, erase his tracks, and plan every movement in darkness. Yet he can never fully escape the weight of who he is. Sooner or later, choices reveal character, and character leaves evidence. But the deeper lesson is not only about crime. It is about community, courage, and conscience. Silence can protect wrongdoing, while one brave voice can help restore justice. The smallest detail, the faintest memory, or the quietest suspicion may become the turning point that helps save a life or bring answers to a grieving family. We should never underestimate the value of speaking up. This also reminds us that modern justice is built not only on force, but on patience, science, persistence, and human cooperation. Technology matters, evidence matters, but moral courage matters too. In the end, justice often begins with ordinary people refusing to look away. When fear says stay silent, humanity says step forward. When darkness tries to bury the truth, compassion and courage become light. And sometimes, that light is exactly what brings someone home.